So this could be a case study, what I'm about to say, because I'm going to use healthcare as an example. Like there's a trauma, a major car accident, okay? A life-threatening trauma. And the person comes in, and most healthcare workers we all know the ABCs. Those are the number one things in those situations. ABCs, airway, breathing, circulation, okay? Those are the most important things to check. So if you have a nurse or, a resident or doctor, whatever, that the trauma comes rolling in and they're like, boy, we have to get that leg in a cast. It looks broken. Yeah, no, that's not the priority. We need to save the life, right? Okay, so I think most people can understand that. So the focus, we'll worry about the leg later. We need to focus on the breathing, if their airway is open, if they're breathing and they have circulation. That's the most important things right now. So now bring it to the border situation, okay? Because what I'm getting at here is how unbelievably stupid the professors of constitutional law are in this country. Or really, they just go along with global. They're a box of rocks, okay? It's just... So back in 2021, 2022, Trump and people from, Trump's orbit were telling Governor Ducey in Arizona and Abbott, declare an invasion and deport them yourselves. Okay? And they were doing this under, I think it was Article 4, Section 4 and Section 7 and 10, I think, which basically says, Article 4, Section 4 and Article 1, Section 10 of the U.S. Constitution to exercise extraordinary wartime powers and use state law enforcement, Department of Public Safety officers, and state National Guard troops to immediately turn back migrants at the border. Can basically do the deporting yourself. So what ends up happening is CNN, the state-run media, MSNBC, all of them, they get what they call, your experts of constitutional law, just like they love to put the experts of science and all that stuff on, all from the universities. And so one of these, and they do it in every single article, especially when they want to say, no, they can't do this. So they got this Emily Berman, who was out of University of Houston. She's just one of many, though, just a box of rocks. That said, I really want to quote her exactly because you'll understand in a minute because it's so stupid. And this is why we shouldn't have these people. We shouldn't be really listening. We should be thinking for ourselves. She doesn't think. That's why I say they're a box of rocks. So Emily Berman, who teaches constitutional law at University of Houston, said the invasion clause cited by proponents is tucked into a broader constitutional assurance that the U.S. must defend states from invasion and domestic violence. Additionally, she said, state self-defense clause says states cannot engage in warlike actions or foreign policy unless invaded. Berman said she hasn't seen the constitutional clauses used since the 1990s when the courts ruled that they did not have jurisdiction to decide what qualified an invasion, but believed that one could only be done by another governmental entity. For example, Berman said, like invasion of Ukraine by Russia can be qualified as one because it is an outside government breaching another country's boundaries with the use of military force. Just because the state says that it is an invasion, that doesn't necessarily make it so. It is not clear to me what additional legal authority that conveys on them, Berman said, adding that state officials can enforce state laws, but the line is drawn at what the federal law allows. Okay, so this is why these people are a box of rocks. So, and it goes back to what I said. The emergency at the pending moment in healthcare We're not worrying about the broken legs, the broken femur, whatever. No, airway, breathing, circulation. So the open border is an artery that's open, being flooded with cartels, fentanyl, people trafficking, a bunch of gang people, terrorist organizations, just flooding in hundreds and thousands of them every day. But Emily, the constitutional law professor, looks at that and says, I'm not sure that's an invasion. Okay, just like, really? Because to Emily, an invasion would be, all those people would have to be in tanks or Humvees with machine guns and, just smashing the border down. No, that's not the only way an invasion is, but that's the way a constitutional law professor would see it, especially one that really just aligns with globalism because she's been brainwashed into it. And these are the people that then go into the courts and they twist the Constitution, and I can't stand this shit because they've done it my entire adult life. They take little things and say, well, we don't know if this is what this means and this. No, when you have a crisis at hand, which goes exactly to what I was trying to say last night, is that sometimes you have to disregard what the experts are saying and do what is right. Just do what is right. Which is why the Trump team was telling Governor Abbott and Governor Ducey, call the invasion so you can deal and cut the artery of infection off. Because it is an infection of people being trafficked, an infection of fentanyl. Now look at all the fentanyl deaths, fentanyl everywhere. Look at what's happened to Chicago, New York. I mean, defecation all over the streets. So I just wonder if that expert, the experts that CNN and all these news channels have on from all these high elite colleges that know so much about constitutional law, why it is they can't even recognize with their own eyes what an invasion is. And that maybe instead of, tweaking around with the Constitution, that most people should just do what is right. Because that's what it is. You have this infection. I'm not saying the people. I'm saying that you look at the border as an artery. We usually have it closed. Everybody coming across it is breaking the law. We have become a nation that has accepted that illegal immigration is somehow legal because we never do anything about it. But that needs to stop because of trafficking, okay? We can't just look away from that shit anymore. But since Biden's been in, it's just been an open gate. So what Emily doesn't stop to think about, or any of these constitutional law professors, and again, these are the people that go on and get on the Supreme Court. So it's no wonder they can't do the right thing. They can't even think right. But she can't realize that, well, we have an open border. So nobody needs to come with a Humvee across the border when it's just wide open and it says, yeah, bring all of your gang members, bring all your terrorist organizations, bring ISIS, bring Al-Qaeda, bring Hezbollah, bring MS-13, bring in your fentanyl, just bring everything in. Come on in, because Joe Biden wants everybody. The smart person in the room would say, that's an invasion. We don't need to have the Humvee breaking down the fence for it to be an invasion. We don't need it to be another state, even though really it is. It's a bunch of states, actually. Because if Emily was able to think, or any of the Supreme Court justices, or just any of the higher educated could think, and looked into anything, they'd find out, oh, all these migrants are getting cell phones and they're getting these cash cards. Easily to find that out, tons of video of it. But of course, they're going to ignore all that and stick with, I don't know if this is an invasion. But if they did look into that, they'd see it all goes back to IOM, which is Immigration Office Migration. They are the ones doing it. So a bunch of states, a bunch of countries at the United Nations are invading this country. So when we don't have people doing the right thing, then what happens is what Abbott did. Let's sit around while the border is being flooded and have a discussion, a round table about it. This is why all the leaders got to go.